Welcome, friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Friday, and we have a very, very, very good day today in front of us. I hope that you are having a good day wherever you are. I see lots of people here already. Ocean City, New Jersey, Jane, Nashville, Tennessee, Judith, Toronto, Canada. Well, I think, Christine, you just said Toronto is a beautiful city. I think that's where you're at right now. But anyways, guys, thank you for showing up and being here. It's going to be fun. And if you were with me last week, you heard me say, I believe, that Jeremy is not able to be with us live today because he's actually teaching a workshop today. And so we try to book these out in advance, quite a ways so that we can, plan and help the artist plan and everything like that. And every once in a while, a conflict comes up, as Jeremy's making his plans for things. So unfortunately, he's not able to be here live with us today, but he went out with his two daughters this week and he recorded a really great demo for us. So it's on location. It's going to be fun to see it come to life. And thank you guys for, it's so fun. I'm going to just scroll back a little bit. Anna was the first one showing up today. That's great. From Tennessee, Tracy from Preston, Washington, Allison from New Mexico. So fun, you guys. Those are the early birds. They were in here in the chat quite a ways before it started. So very fun. And if you are part of the miniature challenge, if you made that purchase in the last few days or weeks, you do have access to that now, as I saw Tracy was mentioning, which we always like to give access on the Friday morning because then you have the weekend to work on it. Even if the challenge, officially starts on Sunday, we always feel like, well, let's give it to them on the weekend. So Mary, hello from Colorado. Lori from Mesa, Arizona. Hey, Lori. Yeah, we had fun down in Arizona recently. It was so fun. And I tell you, we got back home and the weather has been, it's been a little bit lacking, to be honest, here in Washington State. I feel like it's been cold and rainy, and I'm just sitting here thinking, I think I was made for warmer weather. I don't know. I don't know if it's true, but I just keep waiting. I mean, today it is beautiful out. It is sunny. I'm hoping that the actual temperature rises a little bit. But Cheryl, good morning from Bend, Oregon. Now, here's the deal, guys. I wanted to do something that's going to be a little different today, a little bit fun, because we're going to have a little bit of time at the very end of today. So we're going to just kind of get into Jeremy's demo. I actually added a small amount of the interview that he did with us to the beginning. I cut out all the unnecessary parts, but I just put in a little bit of this. So if you've seen his interview before, you're going to be able to get in on that a little bit, a snippet of it. It's about 7 minutes, I think, that I included. And it just is him answering a few of the questions that we asked. And for those of you who didn't have time to go in and see it, this will give you a little bit of an idea of who Jeremy is and what kind of makes him tick and why he thinks the way he does. And his story is quite interesting. And so I think it'll be fun to hear that. And Jane, good question. Jet, did I ever take from William Hook in Santa Fe? No, but this coming week I'm going to Santa Fe and I am going to be there for the Plein Air Convention. And I'm planning to reach out to William when I'm there because when we were in Scottsdale, I did see him and I said hi to him and I told him that I was coming to New Mexico to Santa Fe and that's where he lives. So I'm hoping. I actually still need to reach out to him on his website. So I'm going to do that And then I'm going to hope that we can figure out a time when I can go to his studio or his house or wherever and say hi. But so all that's in terms of the interview and the demo that Jeremy's doing, that's all going to be normal. But what I'm adding to the end is I'm going to give a few of you who would like to the opportunity to join me on this at the end of this time. And what I want to do is I just want to ask you, one thing that you're working on right now in terms of art. And you could show us a painting, or you could just tell us, hey, this is what I'm working on. I'm working on, this aspect of art. It doesn't have to be a specific subject or a painting. It could be, or it could be something like I'm working on, being, really precise with this kind of detail, or I'm working on being courageous. I'm working on being loose, whatever it is. But I'm going to put a link in the chat when the interview and the demo is over. Now, here's the request I have. If you have poor internet, don't click the link. Okay. My request is that you have good internet and it's going to be high quality, because I'll kick you off. I'm not joking. I'm going to kick you off if your internet is really bad and we can't hear you and that kind of thing. So that's all that I want to say is I am going to put that in there in the chat later, but it's going to be for those of you who are brave and those of you who have good internet. So, and I'm only going to take 3 people. So I'm going to take 3 people. We need to keep it relatively short. There's not that much time, but I just thought it'd be kind of fun to have, if you have 3 people, it's going to be the first 3 that show up. But if you have bad internet, I'm going to boot you out, and I'll see about if I have time to add somebody else in. But anyways, guys, who's ready for Jeremy's demo and the little bit of an interview that we have with him at the beginning? I want you to shout it out. Say, I am ready. Kay says, I clicked on your recommended paint set and it's still Utrecht. Are you still advocating them rather than the Winsor Newton you are using now? Well, sometimes there's a lag in how things get updated. All right. Boom. Look at that roar. I see a whole bunch of ready and roaring. Let's go. Okay, guys. So this is going to be fun. This is going to take about 35 minutes. Like I said, they went out earlier this week. So you see the 7 minutes of the interview, what's just kind of cropped down to that. And then there'll be the demo. And I really think you'll enjoy it. Now, one thing I want to say before I started is that he explains quite a bit about what he uses at the beginning of this session. And then when he actually starts painting, he kind of gets into the zone, it feels like, and he stops talking as much. So you will just be able to enjoy it. And if you have questions, you can definitely ask, and I'll see if I can answer them in the chat as it's going. But obviously I'm not him. So you might have some questions that are unanswered, but I hope that it's still inspiring for you and that you get to see what I love maybe the most about Jeremy is how he paints on location and how that has influenced his life. And so that's the part of the interview one of the parts that I kept in there. So guys, here we go. We're going to just jump into this. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so here we go.
When I was growing up, I always drew. I always had a knack for being able to draw things. I didn't realize that was anything special until I was, in grade school and learned that other people can't do that. But I never got to paint until I was in high school, where I took an art class. And at the time, I had no idea that you could make a living as an artist. I didn't grow up in a community that was really, associated with a lot of art. So when I graduated high school, I had planned on going to college for architecture. So I went for 1 year and took some general courses, and I just got burnt out on school at the time, and I decided to take a semester off. And anyway, ended up never going back for architecture. And I had a little part-time job at a building supply store, and they had a spare wall, and they said, "Hey, what can we do on this wall?" And I said, "Well, let me paint a mural on the wall of this building supply store." And as contractors and homeowners would come in, they would see my work, and they started to hire me out to come do their homes and businesses and things like that. And so it's kind of like one little thing led to another. But and I did like commission portraits, just any little odds and ends type thing I could do just to make a living. But like I said, one thing just led to another. And that's the good thing about visual arts, is that it's there. And if it's in the public, that's the main thing, is getting your work seen in the public. And so finally from that, it became a full-time job. So when I was about 19 years old, I was living as a professional artist, even though what I'll consider a professional, but I was making a living as an artist. So around 2011, I was doing, commissioned landscapes, portraits, and whatnot. And I was trying to get into galleries. And so I started visiting galleries just to see what the artwork was like and what I needed to be focusing on to be able to do that. And one of the galleries that I visited, the man looked at my work and he liked my work, but he said, "Jeremy, you really should consider painting in plein air," because most of my work was done from photograph. I learned that through the mural trade, where we were all about speed, and so we would look at photographs and paint from that. So I got used to that. And I noticed when I went into the gallery, there were some people's work in there that I saw that I just was amazed by. And I thought, man, how are they capturing that likeness? Like I'm painting by photograph, but mine does not look, there's something different about their work and mine. So I was talking to the gallery owner, and he recommended go paint in plein air. And then I found one of the artists there. His name was Scott Boyle. He's also here in North Carolina. He's a plein air painter here. And I noticed his work. And so I contacted him through email and just asking questions. And so he wrote back and said, "You really should try going outside and painting, because there's so much that your eye can see that the camera doesn't." And so I'm hearing this from all these different people about painting in plein air. So in 2011, it was around February. It was still pretty cold here. And anyway, I went out to my backyard. There's like a little creek back behind my house. And I thought, I'm going to go out here and paint. And so I went out there one morning, ended up spending like 6 hours on this little tiny painting. Anyway, I had such a good time, even though it took me so long. I didn't even realize how long it had been. And I just fell in love with plein air painting at that moment. And so I went back from that day, started watching YouTube videos, everything I could, getting books. People were recommending books to me and videos. And man, I just grabbed all the information that I could on plein air painting. And I went out literally every day for a good long while. Every day I was painting outside, just to scratch that itch, I guess you'd say. But it really transformed all of my work. I noticed a huge difference in my murals and my own landscapes that I were painting, the commission stuff that I was doing. Everything transformed from that moment on, I believe. I love the fact that I feel like I'm doing what I was designed to do. That makes sense. There's a joy that is produced knowing that I'm doing exactly what I think God has formed me to do. And, anyway, that's probably the biggest thing that brings me joy in it. There's all kinds of other benefits to it, as far as you get to do like what I love. I love to paint. So in order, for me to do that and be able to make a living at that, it's just a huge, huge blessing. And I love the satisfaction of knowing when I accomplish a piece that I feel like I've, learned something in, or, maybe a certain composition or something that I struggled with. Whenever you get that conquered, man, it's just it's just a great feeling of accomplishment. And of course, I'm not looking at that as something that I've done in my own efforts. It's something that I understand that it's definitely a gift from God. So that's definitely some of the joys of it. And just bringing joy to other people. I love to meet other people, and this is a great way to bridge gaps. It's a great way to start conversations. It's a great way just to, like for instance, I go overseas a lot to Southeast Asia, and this is a great icebreaker. I don't have to understand their language. They don't have to understand my language, but we can kind of have this communication through art. So there's all kinds of benefits like that. There's all those things that I love about it.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, art is kind of a universal language, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. You can go out anywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at. Start painting, and most of the time, I've only had a few examples of the contrary, but most of the time, people are so welcoming to that. And it doesn't matter what kind of day they're having. If they see you out there painting, there's something that brings a calming effect to people. Yeah, most of the time, if there's a particular thing that draws me to the scene, that's going to be one of the first things that I'm going to try to capture in that initial startup. But you have to, when the light changes, you have to basically pick a light pattern and stick with it. Otherwise, you will be chasing shadows and chasing the light, for hours. But when you look at certain shadow patterns that you really like, or whether it's a cloud pattern, if clouds are moving, or the sun, the way it's on a certain part of the building or a bush or whatever, you have to pick a pattern and make a plan of that and stick with it. Because otherwise, if you try to do what's in front of you the whole time, you are going to have, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest challenges, because even though I know that, I always do that. And so that is one of my biggest challenges outdoors, for sure.
Okay, so this is the scene that I'm going to try to paint today. And this is my panel. It's a 9x12. And it's a primed birch. Just a 1/4 inch birch panel. I get this stuff from Home Depot and they cut it down myself. Put 2 or 3 coats of, it's called 1-2-3 primer. And I've also used gesso, but do random crisscross pattern. Sand in between each coat. And it gives a nice little panel, little structure to paint on. And you can make a whole bunch of them for a fairly reasonable price. And today I'm using the Day Tripper easel from prolificpainter.com. And this is a little setup made by Joshua Bean. And if you see here, you can see my palette. And I'm basically doing a warm and cool version of the primaries. I've got titanium white, ultramarine blue, teal, quinacridone magenta as my cool red, cadmium red light as my warm red, cadmium yellow medium, and cadmium yellow primrose. These are all Golden Open acrylics. This is the Golden Open brand. Great product for giving you a lot longer time to work on the acrylics. And set up beside this little creek today. Here's my little brush washing canister. And the good thing about acrylics is I can just get down here, use a little creek water to wash my brushes out in. And this is my gel medium in case the paint starts to get a little sticky, or if I need to keep a wet edge, I'll use that. So this is the basic setup, and I have a rag and get my brushes here. This is also from Prolific Painter. Got a little string on the back right here, and this just connects around your palette area. Opens up, now your brushes aren't going to go anywhere. And usually I use a large flat, a medium flat, and a small round. And every now and then for little details I might use this little strip liner, this little guy. But most of the time I use the medium flat as the bulk of my painting. So getting in and out, and the large flat. And I like to put a warm underpainting. So dip into the water, just make a little wash. And we'll start with some cadmium orange. These are just my convenience colors, cadmium orange, also viridian green hue. And I also have Naples yellow as a convenience color. I just get tired of mixing them. And if it speeds me up out here, I'm all for it. Trying to go as quickly as you can. So I'm just laying in just a base coat, just to keep it warm. That way, if I don't fill in all the shapes, get the shapes side by side, if I don't make them connect, at least I'll have a warm little piece showing through, which gives a nice little vibration to the painting. All right, so just a very random block in of that underpainting. And this is the scene. And I'm really drawn to this little area right here where these trees come down, this light spot contrasted with all this dark that's here and around it. This really stood out. But I'm going to do a horizontal painting. And I know when the sun moves, most of this right here will probably be more in the light. So hopefully we'll get some nice shadow patterns coming across here. And I'll probably put most of these trees right here in the shade. Leave this guy right here in the light, because I don't want competing focal areas. So hopefully I put all my focus in here with this nice contrast of light against dark, light against dark. And have these nice little reflections coming down. So these guys will be my secondary place for your eye to go to. But this is going to be my primary place. Okay, so what I've done here is just mapped out my composition. So this is going to be the bottom edge of the bank over here. The trees that I was initially drawn to, this little light area. This is all just peripheral type stuff, but these are just suggestive marks to give me an idea of what the direction, shadows and things like that will be. And so now we'll go from there. What I'll do is start from my darkest darks, and work my way to the lights. And I usually try to keep my darks somewhat thin and transparent somewhat, and then use the thicker paint as I come forward with the mid-tones and with the lighter colors. So we're going to start doing our darks right now. So I'm looking at the scene, trying to figure out what's in the dark family, what's in the light family. And one of the main things I want to do is make sure that I have a nice combination of darks and lights. I don't want to have like a 50-50. I want to make sure that one is dominant and one is subordinate. So I'm always thinking of asymmetry when I do this. Dip into my medium to help keep this edge wet. Just a little bit sticky. Makes the paint dry a little quicker.
Okay.
So right now I'm just refining the shapes, and got basically all the block end done. But now I'm just going back and refining my darks, lights, trying to make sense of what's in the light family, what's in the shadow family, or what's in the dark, and trying to give every little structure a little more form, so it's not just a bunch of big blobs. Alright, so now I'm just kind of refining some of the edges, going back and forth on the values, making sure they're somewhat accurate, and paying special attention to the temperature changes within like the shadows on the water, looking for reflections that I haven't put in there yet. There's a lot of green in this scene, so I'm trying to break some of that up. And anyway, just continuing to refine and refine and refine, soften the edges, things like that. Trying to make sense of a very busy scene. And of course the light has changed pretty dramatically, but I'm trying to stick with one plan that I had at the beginning. Otherwise I'll be chasing the light all day. So just trying to stick with that the main plan. and then I'm going to start doing a little bit more of a detail. So I'm bringing my little small round out, and I'm going to just start defining some of these little leaves, the little edges of the leaves, so that you understand what's going on. Not doing the whole everything, but just the edges, just a little here and there, and this will help define what the mass is. I've got this trusty little maul stick from Prolific Painter. Also, it's got a little mirror on it in case you want to look at your painting in a mirror. And so I'm going to use this to steady my hand. Usually I just use my hand, but I've got this thing now, so that helps. So I'm just going to add in a few of the little grasses and foliage just to give the suggestion that there's vegetation growing. Not doing every little bits and piece, but just enough to give the suggestion.
Well, wasn't that fun, you guys? Just really, really nice to see that painting come together. And like so many of you were saying, when you are out in the middle of the with the beauty of the world around you, it really is wonderful. So I see a couple people here who joined. Okay, we've got 3 people, everybody. I'm going to add the first 3 that were here. Okay, Grandma Sue, you've got just a second to turn on your video. And okay, there we go. Grandma Sue is the 3rd one. Okay, everybody. If you are joining and you're not one of these 3, I will just make sure everybody's internet is good here. But this will be the 3 that we'll do today. But if this works and this is kind of fun, then we'll do it again. And so anyways, we have with us, let me see if I can pull up names here because oh, I don't know if I don't know how to pull up everybody's name. Let me just see real quick. But okay. Not there. Okay, well, I'll just have to say what everybody's names are. We have Wendy. Can Wendy raise your hand, Wendy? Okay, there's Wendy. And we have Barbara. Barbara, can you raise your hand? Okay, there's Barbara. And we have Sue. Sue, can you raise your hand, Sue? All right, perfect. Now, Sue's internet is a little bit iffy. We may not be able to keep her on. I'm not totally sure, but we'll go with this. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to do this one at a time. So I'm going to highlight when it's time to share a little something, I will just kind of, if you have something that you actually want to show, I'll highlight you and you can show what you're working on. Or if you just want to talk about something generally. But thank you very much, you brave people, for coming and joining me here. So Wendy, let's start with you. What is it that you would like to share with the Acrylic University community today?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I want to share that it's amazing. You guys are awesome. I'm learning so much. Practice really makes a difference, and the encouragement is amazing, Jed. The easiest thing to do is to walk away, like you said a long time ago, many times. It's no good. I don't like it. I don't like my colors. And you go, pff. And instead now I go, pff, but I pick it back up and try to fix it later, because the acrylics can cover it up once it's dry. You can start again, or you can remember what you said about if I'd started with a lighter color or whatever, then I paint it all white and go and start again. So I really, really appreciate it. I need to be looser, and I'm really having fun.
That's amazing. So you're having fun, and what it seems like you're saying is you've really figured out that even if you don't like it at a moment in time, you can come back to it and you can make changes to it.
Absolutely, because I learned something new on my next class or my next thing, and I go, oh, where was that painting? You know, how can I fix that? What can I do for that? I can make them smaller, I can make them brighter, I can make them looser, and the background is still all there.
Oh, I totally am with you on that. Every once in a while I have a painting that just gets stuck. Who has a painting that every once in a while just gets stuck and you don't know what to do with it? But if you look at it long enough, sometimes you just see one little thing that can make a big difference in the whole painting. Yeah, that's really great. Well, that's awesome, Wendy. Thank you for sharing that. We'll jump over. Let's go, Barbara. What is it that you would love to share with the Acrylic University community?
Well, let's see. I was like a chalk pastel artist, and I really, really wanted to learn, how to paint effectively with acrylics. And I was so inspired by, the Jump Start and all these different things, but I'm having difficulty actually transitioning, because I'm afraid I won't be as I won't be as effective in acrylics as I have been in pastels. So what
Yeah.
I do is make that jump, but I don't know how. I already got the master palette, you know, I got all the colors, and it's just intimidating to me because I feel good in chalk pastel, but I want to expand. So I guess that's where I'm a little stuck right now. I'm having so much fun watching all of the videos, but I need to just make the jump. I guess.
Hey, who wants to cheer Barbara on to make
I do.
that next jump, that next commitment, that next just, hey, this is what I'd say, Barbara, because let me just ask this also. Who's ever been in a place like Barbara is where, you kind of want to try something, but you're a little bit afraid, you're a little bit worried, and you don't know if you should do it. And who has ever, this is second question, who's ever actually made that jump and then thought, oh, I'm so glad I did that, because I never would have even known if I was capable of this. And now I did it, right? So, yeah, look at this. Look at all the people. I don't know if you can see the people who are commenting over there, but yay, Barbara, you can do it.
Oh,
go for it, Barbara. The mini paintings are a great way to jump in. You can do it. Yes, me. Yeah,
I'm gonna go home and do it now. Thanks.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone. And so thank you for being vulnerable too and sharing. I know this is what I'd say too is just quick word of encouragement is, you don't have to think of it like an either or. You may find that you'll really dive into acrylics. You'll love it. You'll have such a good time. You'll grow. You'll get better. But it doesn't mean that you could never bring out your pastels again and really enjoy them too. So, yeah, wonderful.
Encouragement. I needed it.
Oh, good. Yeah, well, super glad that you're now. Sue, what about you? Tell us what you would love to share with the Acrylic University community.
Well, I have taken classes from other online folks and didn't basically learn anything except made me more afraid to try. I did learn some things. It seems like everyone teaches it a different way. So now I've come to you now. I've got all of my materials. I'm ready to jump in, but I haven't jumped yet. But I pulled out some of my previous paintings and what I've learned so far from AU. I'm looking at those paintings going, So I'm seeing different things than I did before, into corrections and how to make it better. So I have to jump in there and start. That's the thing. I'm just hesitant. And I watched old Bob Ross for a long time, and I'm like, I don't know. So I'm going to just jump in there and go with what you guys are teaching me and see how it goes.
That's wonderful. It sounds like you and Barbara are kind of going to make the leap at the same time, just to jump in and start. And I bet that there's some other people who are watching today right now, and maybe will be watching this later, who are in the same place too. And this is an encouragement to all of you, right? As you have these brave people who came on today and are saying, hey, I need to, just jump in. And if you're in that place, this is your time too. This is the time. This is the day to do it. I would even just say, whatever else you're doing today, make sure that today you take time to get your stuff out and do one thing, even if it's small. A lot of times it's just making one brush mark on the canvas. Just get out your paints and make one brush mark. Because you know what happens when you make one brush mark? You make another one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just keep going, right? And so it's kind of that way with me. I started this workout program. I wake up very early in the morning and I get going on it. But you know what? I have a confession. Yesterday, I woke up, I said hi in the group chat to everybody, and then it was 3:30 in the morning, and I thought, I'm just gonna lay down on the couch for just a minute. And
It's
I laid
true.
down, and guess what I did not do? I did not get up to do my workout. I got up later. I went into a different gym, but you know what happened? My whole day was kind of off. And it wasn't until the very end of the day when I just said, okay, I just have to do this. And I made time and I made space to do it. But what I found is that if you can start with one little thing, it does help other things happen. So wonderful, wonderful. Okay, guys, I'm gonna give you another, just anything you want to say. Anything you want to say. Wendy, I'm going back to you.
I just want to say that the whole team, it's amazing. I'm really enjoying it. I wasn't sure, like I said there in the chat, you know, you jump in, I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm really happy with what I painted. Other times I'm not. But if I back away and look at it and listen to what the other members are saying, it's been fantastic. So I really appreciate all of it. And it's so nice to see some other faces of people that might be doing the same thing. So nice to meet you, ladies.
That is awesome. And Wendy, where are you from?
I'm Southeastern Ontario. I live off the 401 corridor between, let's say, Belleville and Kingston.
Okay.
If anyone knows that area.
I can't say that I've been there, but I know generally where you're talking about.
An hour from Toronto.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Oh,
thank you for sharing. And okay, so Barbara, back to you.
I want to thank you all for the encouragement. I love the sense of community that Acrylic University fosters, and it really does give a person a sense of feeling brave and just trying things out and what I need, because the confidence isn't there. It's been many years, since I had painted, and so. And also your little, is it Mondays that you send out the encouraging, little parables, or not parables, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
inspirations.
There's a couple of different, it depends on those that can come at different times to different people.
I love them. I read them and then I said, that's just what I needed to hear. So I thank you, Jed, for that. That's fabulous. You're doing a great job. You really are.
Well, thank you. That's encouraging. I really appreciate that. And Sue, what about you? What's one more thing that you would like to share with the community?
I like being able to have personal attention if I need it, whether that's via an email to your staff or on the Facebook page. Everybody jumps in and helps you. And I appreciate your encouragement and your always positive attitude, which is very helpful. There's never a critical word spoken, which sometimes that one critical word will just you go, and away my pains will go, and that's it. So I appreciate that very much. It's just a wonderful experience, and it's better than just being some on a website, and then maybe you're communicated with or encouraged, or maybe you're not. So appreciate you guys. And one more thing, if you have time. Nope, you don't. I appreciate the references and giving praise and glory to God for things that happen in your life. That I really appreciate, and it's encouraging.
Oh, yes. Okay. Renee keeps telling me, thank you. But I want to hear, where are you from, Sue?
I'm from California.
Okay. From California. And Barbara, what about you?
I'm from the Jersey Shore area, Tom's River, over on the Jersey Shore.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Well, you guys, I'm going to do something that I wasn't sure I was going to do, but I have two other people that I see waiting here on the stream, and I'm going to add them right now. I hope you're ready, Pam and Brittany, because I'm going to add you right now. Okay. So we just added 2 more people. They were just back there. They didn't care that I didn't pull them up right away. They just sat and waited. So I thought, you know what? Let's just pull them up here at the end. It's a little extra surprise. So I'm going to start here, Pam, with you. Tell us what you want to share with the Acrylic University community.
Well, I really think that the 3 ladies have pretty well said everything. And the biggest thing is encouragement. It doesn't matter what somebody says or has a problem with. There's somebody there who's going to have an answer. And it's just a great feeling to be in the community. I have a problem with getting, what do you call it, artist block. I mean, it's been 2 months since I've sat down to really paint, but I've had hip surgery and I'm using that as an excuse. But it shouldn't be an excuse. I just need to get back to it and put some paint strokes in. So I do have the hesitancy of, is this good enough? Should I stop here? Should I make another stroke? But then I think I did say in the chat here, the good thing about acrylics is that you can go back and paint over it again. So that's a good thing.
That is amazing part of it, isn't it? I feel like there's always hope when you can paint over something.
Yes.
That's fun. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Pam. And where are you? I can't remember. Did you say where you're from?
No, I'm in Gresham, Oregon.
Okay. That's just south of Portland, right?
It's to the east of Portland.
Oh, east. Okay.
Yeah, and it's just cold and rainy and wet, and I'm really tired of waiting for spring.
I know, the spring that never came for us,
Yes.
man. We'll just transition straight into summer, probably. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Brittany, it is your turn. What do you want to share?
Hi, I have been blown away by everything at AU. I have an art degree. I'm an art teacher, but I have never learned art and specifically acrylic painting like I have from you guys. I feel like my whole life that I've been doing art, it's been adapting oil painters always. And so I've never really learned the techniques of being an acrylic painter. And it always was seemed like an inferior sort of medium. And I'm like, no, why isn't everybody doing this? And so it's been nice to basically find my family.
Oh, good.
So I just love everything that I'm learning, like recreating paintings that I've done. I did a painting. I actually painted it last night. I was working on the last Friday's demo and simultaneously recreating a plein air that I had done. And it's just fun to have the freedom to do it, but also the encouragement that you give and just being able to be like, you know what? No, I need to take the time to do it. It's gotten me out of a dark place. And, having a toddler is always fun when you're trying to paint. And so I spend lots of late nights once she's in bed, but also showing her that I can paint in the backyard while she's playing. And she knows that mom is painting.
I bet that if we went around, we would find that everybody has an excuse. We all can come up with an excuse to not paint, to not try, to not be brave. And so I appreciate all of you who are saying what the things that make it challenging, but you're also finding solutions. And I think that's incredible. I just say good job. Thanks, Brittany, for being that. I mean, I think that's amazing. And
I have to say that it also is encouraging to see some exceptional teaching and know what I want to model to my students and provide, and just how beneficial the live demonstration is, and that it's possible. So I actually did it. a live plein air to my students last week. It was a disaster art wise, but they had fun and they were painting with me, and it was all virtual. So that was
Whoa.
exactly
Nice.
my life.
That's great. I mean, so what I've found too is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good the demo turns out. That's not the point. And actually, sometimes you guys remember my failed daffodil plein air painting from a few.
I loved that.
Yeah. We got so many responses directly about that because, you know, I think it's easy to think that your teacher or somebody that you look up to doesn't ever have struggles and doesn't fail and doesn't have hard times. And it's just not true. It's not true across the board. Everybody does. But that's why I think it's helpful to share some of those moments. And so even what you're saying, you were brave to do that in front of your class. And that probably made a bigger difference than if everything had gone perfectly, you know. So good job.
Thank you.
Well, I have one thing
I'm from Visalia, California.
Oh, that was what I was going to ask. Yeah. Okay. Where did you say?
Visalia, California.
Visalia, California. Okay. I don't even know where that is.
It's like Central Valley, like between Fresno and Bakersfield. Like
Okay.
between Fresno.
It's live.
Okay, well that's awesome. We're almost done here, but I just wanted to share one thing with you guys because I have something that I have been putting off and I need the courage to just jump into it. And the reason I put it off is because I've come up with excuses why it's not the right time. I've come up with excuses as to why I don't want to do it because if I start it and then I don't keep it up, it will look like a failure and all these kinds of things. But here's what it is. I've been wanting, and I've talked about it a number of times, but I've been wanting to start a podcast called the Brave Art Podcast. And I think that it could be really a fun podcast to make, but it does have challenges. I mean, I need to figure out where I will do it. I need to figure out how I will work the audio. There's certain things I need to figure out, but there's always a solution. So that's my commitment to you guys is that I am going to start this podcast and I want it to be an encouragement because I feel like it's what we're talking about. The courage to move forward in art is what we all need. And that spills over into other areas of our lives because we are connected. And so, hey, can we just say thank you to all of our friends who joined us today? If you think that this was fun, also share that because I thought it was fun, but I always want to hear what you guys think. And yeah, you guys, thank you for being here. It was so great to have you. Each of you shared a little bit about yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks,
so
Jed.
much.
Renee, all of you. Nice to meet you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so
Super
fun,
pleasure.
so fun. All right, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. And we will look forward to seeing you guys next week at Diana's workshop. It's going to be amazing, like always. Love you guys. We believe in you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.